If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. My goal is to reach 100 subscribers, and I really appreciate if you guys hit that button. So, the Eastern Conference this year is really interesting. We have multiple teams that could make the playoffs or even make the Eastern Conference Finals or Finals. And it is very unknown at the moment who could actually make that jump. There are teams like the Bucks, the Nets, the Celtics, and more teams in the East that could possibly make that jump this year and reach the finals. Last year, the Heat made the finals, but I really don't see that happening this year, depending on I would say they got a little bit worse, losing out on Jay Crowder especially. He was a big part of that team, but they also were able to retain most of their team for the next season, so I could see that happening again. But I just want to talk about every team who I think has a chance on making the finals this year and see what you guys think about it. So I'm just going to run down my top 5 teams who I believe who has the highest chance of coming out of the East. So this is not in any order, just to be sure. Okay, first on the list is the Bucks. Obviously, well, they have had the first seed in the past 2 years. They have made the Eastern Conference Finals before falling to the eventual champions, the Toronto Raptors, in 2019. They've gotten better, I would say, for the next few years, but then they haven't been making it far in the playoffs. But they have gotten rid of the main problem, which I'm not going to say, but you should know who I'm talking about, and replaced him with a point guard who can create his own shot, play make, just do everything. Again, the person I'm not going to say, but better, basically. So I am a Bucks fan, by the way. So yeah, the Bucks are definitely up there. They are on top of a lot of people's lists. They have gotten better, I would say, this season. They've definitely improved their bench, I guess. I really don't know if I would say they were gotten better, but they have re-signed Giannis though. That is the main piece. A lot of people were saying when they traded for Drew Holiday that they gave up too many first round picks. Well, that doesn't really matter too much anymore because we have Giannis for the next few years. So, do you guys know how when you're talking about your favorite team, you usually say we? It's just kind of something stupid. Oh, okay. But yeah, the Bucks, they are definitely up there though. Next up on the list is the Brooklyn Nets. And the biggest question going into this season was, will Kevin Durant be healthy? How will he perform? How good will he be, basically? And so far in the first 2 games of the NBA season, he has played amazing. The first one against the Warriors and the second one against the Celtics. And wow, it seems like Kevin Durant will be back. And a few videos ago, I said I don't believe Kevin Durant will be in the MVP conversation, which I partially do believe still, but mainly for the fact because I don't know if his legs are going to be able to handle the full 72-game season, because most people, they'll perform well and then later in the season you can see a slight drop. That's the only reason. But if he's performing how he is right now throughout the whole season, yeah, I could definitely see him in there. But Kyrie Irving, DeAndre Jordan is the starting center, but that kind of is annoying because Jarrett Allen should be, but Katie and Kyrie wants him to be there, and that's the only way. That's how Brooklyn actually attracted the both of them. So, but I understand that move. But Brooklyn is very good. That is very. I made a video about them recently, and if you want to go watch that, go ahead. But they are very good, and I can easily see them making the Eastern Conference Finals. I can easily see them making the finals. It's really debatable, but yeah, I would not be surprised. So next up is the 76ers, and we both know the 76ers have been struggling for the past few years, especially, no, I don't want to say they've been struggling because they did almost make the Eastern Conference Finals in 2019 before Kawhi made that bounce shot that bounced like 4 times. But we all know this team has the most potential out of most teams in the league, and they usually come short mainly because of either injuries or they're just not performing well. And with this team adding players like Danny Green, which a lot of people make fun of, but he is still a very good NBA player. Seth Curry, who's actually one of the most efficient three-point shooters in the league, which this team has definitely struggled in the past few years with shooting, basically. And if you add Danny Green and Seth Curry and other few pieces to this team, they have improved this season. I would definitely say that. And you still were able to retain Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and a few other players. And they were also able to get rid of the Al Horford contract, which was definitely surprising that they even gave him that in the first place. But I do understand why at the time. But it was just a bad fit with that team. But now he's on the Thunder, and hopefully he can play his true position with the center. And by the way, I still think Al Horford is a good player. It was just a bad fit with Joel Embiid, and the Sixers had him playing power forward with that is definitely not his position. So, but yeah, the Sixers, they are up there in the ranks. They should be up there. They should not be around the 4th or 5th seed. All I gotta say is, if this team struggles like they have in the past, you can expect some big moves in the 2021 offseason from the Philadelphia 76ers. But next up on my list is the Celtics. And the Celtics are a very young team, but a very good team. Their roster is very deep. They are very talented. And I'm expecting bigger things from the Boston Celtics from this previous season. And yes, they did make the Eastern Conference Finals, beating the Toronto Raptors, the previous NBA champions. But, well, they did lose Kawhi. But I'm expecting a lot from the Celtics this year because they have Jason Tatum, who is slowly turning into a superstar if you don't consider him one already. And Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Kemba Walker when he comes back from injury, which should be around January, I believe. And yeah, this team is so deep. And the fact that they have not made the finals yet, I am surprised. I'm not saying they should, because there is a lot of other teams in the East who can just obviously beat them. But this team is just too talented, and I can definitely see them making the finals in the next few years. But even this season, I can see it happening. It's just we have to see what's going to happen in the future, because we obviously can't tell yet. But yeah, the Celtics are just a good team, but we just have to see what they can do in the playoffs when it comes up. And the last team I have to talk about is the Miami Heat, who has come off one of the most amazing playoffs run we have ever saw. They have beat the Pacers in the first round, swept them. In the second round, they faced off with the Bucks. I'm not even going to talk about that. In the Eastern Conference Finals, they faced off with the Celtics, where they beat them in 6 games. And they reached the finals, which a lot of people never saw coming in the first place. And they took the Lakers to 6 games, which people were saying that the Lakers were going to sweep them, but that didn't happen. And the Miami Heat, they fought their hardest. They came off one of the best playoffs run ever. And yeah, the Miami Heat are a question for this season, because most people wonder if it was a fluke. They wonder, can they do it again? Which I'm not sure, but I don't want to say anything, because I truly do believe this team has the talent to do it again, especially with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and retaining Goran Dragic in free agency. And this is going to be a teams does not want to face in the playoffs, and everybody should know that by now. But I would definitely say this team is a contender to come out of the East this year also, because we just saw them do it last year. And even though this team has lost a few players, we still believe that this team, or I still believe this team, should be one of the best. But those are my top 5 teams who I believe are going to, or has a chance of coming out of the East, in the Bucks, 76ers, Celtics, Nets, and Heat. And if I have to give you my prediction on who I believe is going to actually come out of the East, I'm going to have to say the Milwaukee Bucks. And I'm not being biased because of that, but it's mainly for the fact because they re-signed Giannis. Well, that has nothing to do with it this season, but they have Giannis Antetokounmpo. They have Chris Middleton, who was playing out of his mind in the first 2 games, averaging 29 points. And if he can go around that average while playing efficiently like he did last year, this team is going to be a problem. But I believe the Bucks they're still the best team in the East. I believe they're going to have the 1st seed. Hopefully, with the addition of Jrue Holiday, this team can make it farther in the playoffs with some of their struggles in the past. But I just want this team to do better in the playoffs, especially this year, for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want me to make a Western Conference video just like this, don't forget to leave in the comments to let me know. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. I really appreciate all of you, and have an amazing day. Peace.